Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Brandon Johnson on the line. He's a founder over at Be Gallant. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
All right, so excited to get into some of your projects that you're working on and to talk more about Be Gallant also. But before we do that, let's go a little bit further in your background. Tell us a little bit more about how you got started in your career and in business.
Yeah, sure. I went to college at UC Santa Barbara, and I loved it there for one. And after I graduated from there, I got a job working on campus, actually, straight out. And a lot of what my job was doing there was doing a lot of training, doing a lot of recruitment and hiring and supervising, stuff like that, with students and other professionals. And so I kind of just continued doing that for a couple of years. And then after that, I went to grad school to study higher education. And while I was going through my program, I continued to kind of do that same kind of work and just like training, supervising, recruiting, stuff like that. And so over time, I just kind of built up some skills on how to recruit and how to hire, basically, and train. And I loved it. It was great to kind of get that kind of experience for myself at a relatively young age. So I felt really privileged about that. And so I still do similar work now.
Man, that's awesome. And I don't think I know one person that went to UC Santa Barbara and was like, oh, I didn't enjoy it. It's just such a beautiful place. Who didn't like that said no one ever.
No.
I love it. No, so great story. So let's switch it up a bit. I want to talk about some of your current projects and what you're working on. So maybe let's just start with Be Gallant. So tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah. So, well, as I mentioned, I started doing a lot of recruiting and hiring work fresh out of college. And I realized that kind of like I quickly developed some skills on how to coach people to applying for jobs or how to get jobs, basically. And so I started having friends that would like reach out to me, family members that would reach out to me about helping them craft resumes, cover letters, prepare for interviews, stuff like that. And one day it just kind of hit me. It's like, wow, I could probably make some money off of doing this. And my goal with it was to really help people kind of take a steps in their life that would help them feel more passionate. So like doing work that they really want to do and feel capable of doing that kind of work and have the opportunity to really realize some things that were really important to them. And so I kind of attached the name Be Gallant to the services that I would be applying because gallant is another word like brave or courageous. And I wanted the people that I worked with to feel like they had the right to bravery and courage in their professional pursuits. So I started, I went online, learned how to make a website, threw it together really, and immediately started offering pro bono services. And so I was doing a lot of resume work, a lot of cover letter work, interview prep for people, pretty much anybody who would be willing to give me a shot really to help them get their stuff together. And so I did that, and I started doing that in January 2018. And over time, it just kind of developed into something that I was able to make money off of, and I still do, actually. So I really enjoy the process of connecting with people, getting to know their story in terms of their career path and what their goals are and what their lofty goals are that they think are a little bit far-fetched, and working with them to kind of achieve that sort of thing. So that's really what Be Gallant is all about. It's all about trying to open doors for people who feel like they have an uphill fight.
No, I think it's great. And what do you think, and I'm just interested to hear your perspective on this, because I feel like you have a pretty unique vantage point, having done this as long as you have and kind of coming from the space that you're doing, and, you know, trying to really empower people. What do you think kind of holds people back from, and again, I know this isn't going to be like a cookie cutter answer, meaning one size does not fit all with this, and there's only so much we can fit in a podcast episode, but I do know themes apply, right? Or you see things happen over and over again. So what do you think is one, or what are some of those themes that keep people or hold them back from really moving forward with whatever their passion is?
You know, that's a tough question to answer. What I would say though is, at least in my experience and perspective, is just a lack of access to resources. I think that for me in particular, you know, I'm a black man, and I know like a lot of people. I know for myself in particular, growing up, I didn't even know that this kind of service existed. And I didn't know that people were using coaches to help them move forward in their career. And I think that as I've gotten older, I've grew up around people from similar backgrounds as me as far as socioeconomic status and things like that. And a lot of my peers didn't know stuff either and didn't have access to things either that some of my friends when I went to college did know about and did have access to. And so I think that that's a huge barrier, is just a general lack of access to knowledge and information and resources and things like that. And that's a big reason why I do what I do, is because I want to be able to open up doors to those kinds of resources and create more access wherever I can, you know, whatever my sphere of influence is. So that's the best that I can give you as far as an answer to that question.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and as the saying goes, right, you don't know what you don't know, and it's true.
Yeah.
And access is a big deal, and not all communities do have access. And I have this conversation pretty often. I mean, it's different, and you know, to assume that everyone does is wrong. Like, everybody does not have access. Everybody is not working with the same information, and it doesn't have to just be socioeconomic or business. It can be health. Like, you know, it could be food, it could be nutrition. It could be, I mean, I interviewed somebody recently who was talking about food deserts. It could be access to quality food, like in the United States. Like, there are all these other things that have to do with access. So love the work you're doing, love what you're doing, and definitely support that mission. So that being said, so Brandon, if somebody is listening to this and they want to learn more about your services, the projects you work on, or Be Gallant, I mean, what's the best way for somebody to reach out and to connect?
The best way would be to go to my website. I have my website for Be Gallant is www.begallant.me. And that's where I offer all of my services. I run a blog on that site as well about career development things. And then another way to get in touch with me would be to go to my other website, which is brandonthegallant.com. And on that website, it's more of a travel blog. I'm a huge travel buff as well, and so I do a lot of travel writing and sharing of my experiences online as far as like the international community goes. So definitely go to either of those two websites and connect with me there, and we can chat about whatever it is you need.
Fantastic. Well, Brandon, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great stuff that you're doing. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Brandon, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was a great time.